Afternoon, Steve. Delighted to have you on as our latest guest on property with OBI.
Oh, hang on. I've got my property too.
Have you? Good man. Steve Oliver, CEO of Music Magpie. How you been getting on, Steve?
Yeah, good. Thanks, Will. Just like the rest of the world, adjusting to working from home and being in isolation and all that kind of stuff. But a lot of talk about the new norm at the moment, isn't there? So I guess this is the new norm of working from home and staring at a video screen for 8 or 9 hours a day.
It looks like you are actually in a proper man cave, and it does actually look like a cave with the city memorabilia in the background.
It is actually a cave for men. Because I live with 3 women. So I do need my place of safety and isolation and a lock at the door. So
how's it been at home? How's it been? Has it been good?
Just really different. Do you know what? It was this Monday for the first time. I woke up on Monday and thought, do you know what? I'm missing the office now. I'm missing sort of the social aspect of being with the team, sort of leading in person, and maybe even a game of pool in the office, etc. But it was the first time really, because there's been aspects of it I've quite enjoyed. You know, obviously I don't have too much of a commute, but the reduced commute, and I've probably attended more family teas in the last 9 or 10 weeks than I've attended for the previous 10 years. So
yeah, we've been lucky with the weather, and I know you're a keen sit-on lawnmower man, aren't you, in your spare time? So have you been making the most of it?
I have, yeah. Been doing it every week. My old man's mower has been in fine form. And
is this one sky blue?
It's not actually. No, I have still got the sky. I did own the only sky blue ride-on lawnmower in Britain because I commissioned it in, and the Countax even contacted City to get the right RAL number. Yes, that's how sad I am. I think you know me well enough to that's not a surprise.
Well, that's obviously for anyone that doesn't know Steve, he is as big a blue as they come. But just moving on to business, Steve. How has the coronavirus impacted your business and also the team?
So I guess, well, we've been in that really small percentage, and it's a very fortunate bracket of about 5% of businesses. In fact, that was the percentage I read recently, that recent events has actually positively impacted the business. And I have to say, I've wrestled with that a little bit, and feelings of slight guilt and embarrassment at times, you know, if people have asked, how are you going? Because obviously so many poor businesses have struggled and have found challenges in these times, and you know, heart goes out to them. And it's been, you know, some fantastic businesses who've just had the rug pulled from them. Magpie, it has been blessed in that, I guess, you know, both the sell side of our business and the shop side, so us selling, so us buying from consumers and reselling, has been, it stayed in really good demand, I have to say, especially the selling, because then we've got the 2 product categories of our old legacy category of CDs, DVDs, games, books, and I emphasize books because our book sales have trebled in the last 8 to 10 weeks. It's just been nuts. And then we've got the new world products, which is about 2/3 of our turnover these days, which is consumer tech, led by mobile phones. But I mean, obviously we all live on our phones these days, but even more so when your team's remote and scattered, that we've all been spending lots of time, as I mentioned earlier, just staring into screens. And my weekly report makes fairly scary reading these days for how much we've been on. But from a very early stage, Magpie sort of positioned itself as we made sure that all our messaging had no gimmicks in it. We took away any sort of, you know, glitzy glamour, you know, flash offers. It was just positioning ourselves of, we're here to help. So we're here to help you work from home, stay connected, and be entertained from home. And I have to say, we've been really, really busy. In fact, our challenge in some senses has been the other way in controlling the volume, in that we didn't swamp our operations, and that's been the first and foremost consideration, actually.
And Steve, for those that don't know the background to your business, will you just let everyone know what Magpie do as a core function?
Yeah, I guess, I use the expression quite a lot, the lazy man's eBay. So on the trading side of consumers selling to us, of which there's been, a strong demand for that, because obviously people have been at home and they're looking to declutter and raise some cash in the process. So, I guess that lazy man's eBay is that we did a survey in the past where 80% of the UK's population won't sell on eBay. They'll buy from it because it's quick and convenient. And a proud claim to fame for our businesses, a lot of what we buy, certainly historically, was then taken onto the eBay platforms. And we are the world's biggest seller on eBay. In the history of eBay, nobody has done more transactions than us. So we're up above 10 million global feedbacks now. We're also the world's. Sounds like I'm showing off. I promise I'm not. It's context.
I've seen the big thing in your office boardroom from
that's
eBay.
Right. We have a painting that the president of eBay presented to me in San Jose for when we hit 5 million global feedbacks. As I say, we're now over 10. The new painting hasn't arrived yet. The second biggest seller in the world is only just gone over 5. So, but when I say the lazy man's eBay, it's more relating to the consumers selling to us. So they come onto our site, whether they've got a box of old CDs, DVDs, games, books, or a mobile phone, or a tablet, or a laptop, or a games console. You get a valuation for it. We fix our price. We provide the logistics for you. So again, in these times challenging times we've had recently, all our transactions, virtually all now, we offer a contact-free courier. So we come to your front door, collect your items from you. As soon as it gets to our warehouse, we check it off, make sure it is what you say it is, and at that point we pay you. So people are getting fast cash. It's a trusted service. We've got 135,000 Trustpilot reviews now at 4.8 out of 5. So people trust us, they like us. It's a known, hassle-free, easy service. So I guess very much that sort of easy trade-in option. And then what do we do with it all? Well, we refurbish it, whether it is a CD
How much did you get for this?
The Stoke City Annual. I noticed the picture on the front's in black and white, Will. So that was the last time you won something.
That's Stanley Matthews. Yeah, he's still our most famous player.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. I'll make you an offer on it later. Don't go quitting the day job just yet, though, Will. We refurbish all the items. Certainly, in the case of a mobile phone, we buy phones with cracked screens or where the battery's completely gone, even if it doesn't power up. As long as it's signed out the iCloud, we can refurbish that item. We put a 12-month warranty on it and resell it back to consumers. And I guess that is the sort of physical aspect of our operations that I mentioned before that we've kept going throughout this period.
So you've obviously got an office part of the business and then a distribution part and workshop part. How have the two different parts of the business worked and operated through the last 8 weeks or so?
Yeah, it's been a really interesting, I will use the word challenge because I think it's a challenge for any business at the moment. So the office, we were really proud to get everybody out within 48 hours. Actually, it was the week before the lockdown was imposed. So I think it was Monday the 16th when he advised that anybody who could work from home now should do, rather than the instruction that was issued the week after. So we got everybody home within 48 hours. So that was just shy of 175 people that we got home. That was when I came to work from my home office. And yeah, we did vacate our office premises at Stockport Exchange. The week after, when the more rigorous lockdown was imposed, we were very well prepared for it. But the government from an early stage did encourage, and they used that word, encouraged online retail to stay open. So, there was some difficult moments in the early stages. You know, we have 400 or 500 people in our ops division across our 2 or 3 distribution centres. I'm including the one in the States here. And there was people who were confused about, you know, we're not key workers, we're not essential, why are we still here? You know, 1 or 2 accusations of, are you putting, you know, your profits in front of my health, etc. So it was really quite challenging, certainly in the early stages.
And how did you get through those challenges, Steve? How did you communicate with your team, and were you visible? Did they see you?
Yeah, well, I'm hard to miss, as you know, Will. I'm 6'6". I've done no hiding really, but no, I mean, I made that decision fairly early on that I didn't want to be seen to be behaving differently to the rest of my office colleagues, but I felt it very important to be seen to be leading from the front in the operation. So literally, I went in on a number of occasions, including surprising them all at 6 o'clock on one Sunday morning, where I met everybody. And went round and talked to everybody. It's a bit, you know, it's hearts and minds at times like that. And I guess most of them knew of me, but didn't know me. You know, in the old days when I started the business, I prided myself in knowing everybody's name in the warehouse. Now I struggle, I'm ashamed to say, in the office. But I actually really enjoyed reconnecting and re-engaging with the ops side. And when they saw me on site and getting involved, and actually, we also arranged fairly early on. We recognised it was difficult for them to make their own arrangements for catering. You know, all the butty vans and shops, and they didn't want to go and queue up outside the Sainsbury's up the road for an hour just to get the lunch.
You kept that butty van in business, didn't you, outside your depot?
Well, he's a good pal of mine, Ian, and he probably owes me more than 1 or 2 bacon and egg butties now, because I asked him whether he would supply us with sandwiches for all the day shift and all the night shift for both our UK sites, and he said he was delighted to, because he'd had to close his van. So yeah, we did that. We laid on a thank you bonus, which was only right to recognise their efforts and contribution. Basically we'll be paying it in about 4 weeks time. So we did a 12-week period starting on the 23rd of March, where we said anybody who does the 12-week period gets a week extra pay at the end of it, based on the average of the 12 weeks. And it was funny, Will, those kind of hearts and minds and the dissenting voices. I was aware that there was bits and pieces on Facebook about, you know, Steve talks about Magpie family and all this kind of thing. Well, suddenly, you know, they really did sort of come round. First and foremost, Will, I do think they believe that I care. And I care about them, and that was the absolute first and foremost consideration. So, you know, we put loads of safety measures in place in that first week.
And Steve, you're obviously one of the regions. You know, good. You know, you're a great guy. Everyone knows you. I've always really enjoyed your company. But you've won a lot of awards for what you've done with this business. In terms of you as a leader, have you learned anything new over the last couple of months?
Yeah, I felt a bit guilty actually that I disengaged a bit from the engine room of the business, which is your operations.
Yeah.
And as I mentioned earlier, I've really enjoyed going back and getting involved in the nitty-gritty, rolling my sleeves up, going talking to people. You cannot beat face-to-face communication, especially in you know, at such a time of adversity. People want to see you and talk to you. And also, I mean, this has been my gripe and complaint about the government guidance and information. They want clear and consistent information about what's happening, what's going on, what they'll be paid, you know, why we're still open. So reproducing it, everybody getting a number of letters explaining where we are, what we're doing as a business, inviting feedback. I mean, feedback is really important to us as a business generally, but inviting that feedback of, if you think we're missing something, please tell us and we'll do something about it. And then I guess the final thing was, and this was, you know, the final bit where people believe that we, you know, meant what we were saying, is allowing people authorised, albeit unpaid leave. And I had to explain to them, I said, I can't give you authorised and paid leave, because frankly then everybody would do it and we'd have to shut down. But if you are uncomfortable being here because either you feel uncomfortable generally, or you're worried about a family member at home, I completely respect that, and you will keep your job.
Yeah.
And we're still actually involved in that. I think there was 5 ladies in the warehouse operations of our colleagues who were pregnant. So we took them out naturally in those cases, did full pay for them. But yeah, I think face-to-face comms, I mean, to other businesses, Will, what I've done, I did a piece on the SK Business Recovery website a couple of weeks ago that encouraged people to think about there's no greater time to pivot your business than when in adversity.
Yeah.
So, if 2 or 3 years ago we had 30 shops on the high street, and it was a sad day, very sad day. I'm a retailer by trade. It was a really sad day when we closed them, but it made us a better business. And my goodness, I'm afraid the reality is we're very glad we haven't got them now, and we're just pure play online. But we've had moments in our history where, as physical media declined, and then we pivoted into tech, we pivoted into opening in the US, we pivoted off eBay and Amazon to grow the Magpie online store, which is well over half our online sales today. So I think, at times like this, that's what, when I've talked to other people, without being condescending, because as I say, we're or risking sounding conceited in any way, because we've been okay during this, but it's encouraging them to really think about their business model and can you pivot it, can you adjust it.
We've been doing exactly that, Steve, and that's what I've been almost encouraging every single person in our business, to be leaders and to be responsible for developing new ideas. And times of crisis do make you either sink or swim, and if you're going to swim, you do have to innovate and come up with new ideas. And we it's been tough for our business, but I've actually quite enjoyed some of the challenges in a strange sort of way, and the team's reacted really well. What's your view on going back to the office? I mean, are you in any rush? Are you just going to? The guidance seems a bit woolly in terms of when we'll all go back. I suspect you'll have some people that will want a change of environment and get back in there.
It's fascinating, Will. At the start of last week, we surveyed our 170-ish people in our office, and we asked a number of questions along the lines of, are you okay? Are you happy where you are? Is there anything we can do better in terms of equipment or comms or support or whatever? And actually, it was really nice. The biggest answer we got was, no, we're fine. We're really happy with how the company's handled it. We feel well communicated with. We asked them on a very simple score of 0 to 100 how happy they were working in their current environment. To our surprise, I wouldn't have put it this high. The average was 77 and the median was 82. We asked, and this is really informative, I think, for the future, how they were feeling about when they came back in, what their biggest concern was. The biggest answer was they didn't have any, which was good, because I think they sort of trusted us. The next biggest one was social distancing. But I think for us to replicate the kind of things we've done in the warehouse with one-way systems and staggered breaks and canteens and start times, end times, moving stations apart, we'll move desks apart. The best thing we did in our operation is put markers down for, the tape in terms of 2 metre, a bit like chevrons on the motorway. You do find yourself looking at the chevrons and thinking, well, actually, I better stay 2 apart. And then as soon as they finish, you end up, close again. So that's been very powerful. But when we asked how they're feeling about the future, only 5 of them said they basically couldn't wait to get back in the office and they would want to be working 100% of the time from the office.
That's really interesting.
The rest of them, and it was a split not far off 50-50 in terms of a mix of home and office, and people who actually said they'd work from home all the time. When we looked into that, and this is, I think it gives you a little insight into sort of potentially how the future will work. The people who need to be collaborative in their teams, so marketing, digital, IT, our store tech trading team, etc. They're the people who enjoy working with people in teams and together, and they've adapted and they've made their own way. when we look at, for instance, our call centre and customer service people, we've taken that home, and our group head of customer service and experience has told me that absenteeism's gone down, productivity's gone up, and actually flexibility of when they're servicing our customers, because they're logging on and off like an Uber driver now. So if they've got to do the kids' tea time or whatever, or bedtime, or they want to lie in one day, that's fine, because as long as you do your 7.5 or 8 hours, they can come on back in the evening and talk to customers when they want talking to. So actually our office hours, where we do work a fairly extended day, but we're supporting a wider range on the clock.
So flexible, and you've obviously, that involves trust, but you've got to trust your team at the end of the day, haven't you?
Yeah, I mean, actually, in terms of those, customer services folk, we can actually see when they logged on and when they logged off. And it's a bit like a warehouse colleague where they might have a KPI of they need to do so many per day. And, we can monitor. But trust is, that's the exception, really. Trust is absolutely the key word. And I think, and I'm going to put myself in this camp, where I had a slight distrust of the whole working from home. And I think I've probably shed a lot of that now.
I think a lot of people are in the same boat, Steve. If they're on it. I think it's fast forwarded agile working massively in that thing. But I wanted to finish on your view. Obviously, I can't have a conversation with you when we don't have a chat about football. And when we had a chat earlier today, I don't think we touched upon it. So, what's your view? I haven't given it much thought, genuinely. I've had lots to think about. So very unusually for me, I haven't given it a massive amount of thought until the last couple of weeks, really. Listen, I think we'd have all had a bit of a giggle if Liverpool had been denied the title. We just would. Because they're really good at accepting things like that, aren't they, our Scouse brethren? But the reality is they deserve it. So for me, I mean, I'm not a fan of this no fans in the ground. I'm not a fan of the rushing it back and playing behind closed doors. I don't know quite why we are rushing it back. I think really when the season restarts, it restarts and we just carry on with the same season. I don't get this, But actually, I think the reality is the more you learn and the more you read and listen to what's going on and the longer term impacts, you and I aren't going to be sat in our football ground for, I don't think 12 months. Well, I think we all need to get used to that thought that we're going to miss a season. Yeah, no, don't disagree, mate. But Steve, that has been enlightening. That's been so good, mate. I really appreciate you coming on and giving a real in-depth overview of a really special business, and I'm delighted that that you're doing great, mate. Well done.
Thank you, Will. It's I know it's a bit of a cliche, but it is a true team effort. It reminds me that I'm not just the one who sits and has good conversations with good people like you, and it's my team who do all the hard work, especially, and I have acknowledged it over and over again, our ops team have been utterly amazing. We did win them over early on, and they saw that we cared about them, but they're the ones who've done the real hard yards, and they should be acknowledged as the heroes of Magpie.
I think a lot of people can learn a lot from this chat. So thanks again. Thanks, Steve.
No problem. Thanks
very
much.
Well, all the best.
See you soon.